I was smoking a hookah. And I got one drink in me, and I was smoking a hookah like an expert, like I've been smoking for years. Boy, I said, boy, I ain't even had the water vaping and going on. And I was smoking, throwing smoke out of my nose and nostrils in my mouth at the same time. It was great.
We're back with Dr. Bridgette. Let's talk about the ceremony in honor of your husband. Actually, you were very instrumental in passing some bills there in Virginia, state of Virginia, where you reside. Let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh, that was like a defining moment for me. I was really excited about that. I shared that with my family. Really was heart-moving.
Okay.
So, let me tell you a little bit about that bill. That bill, it was about the veterans, but it really was not about the veterans. It was about the veterans' legacy. The problem is this: people recognize the veteran, and we all do. We appreciate it. If we did not have veterans fighting for our country, oh my gosh, we'd be in trouble. But here's the problem: when that veteran dies, a lot of times people forget about the widow or the widower. We're left behind to have to pick up the pieces. So let me tell you what's the story behind the bill itself. My husband was a retired Navy officer. And he was disabled, but not only he was disabled, he also suffered with PTSD. And when it was time for me to take his tags down, or at least I had to like get his tags renewed, I went to DMV. Now here's the interesting part about it. I live in Virginia. We're gonna say, we have several counties.
Okay.
Like maybe Culpeper County, they may say, okay, you can keep that tag. But maybe Fredericksburg, they may say, no, you cannot keep that tag. Here's the issue. When you have conflicting issues like that, then one person can have a tag and one person cannot have the tag. Somebody may say, what's the big deal about the tag? It means a lot.
Okay.
So he had a very special tag. His tag was very specialized because it represented his career.
Right.
And so what happened was, when I went down to DMV, they had told me, this is okay, we're sorry about your loss. And I actually waited a year because they were like 2-year renew tags. But I waited a year before I even decided to make the decision, because really it was 2 years left on the tag, but I waited going into the first year. And then when I went down there, I said, look, here's my husband's tag. He passed away, yada, yada, yada. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to keep this tag, because it was on his truck. And the lady, she said, well, here's 2 questions for you. Number 1, she says, are you a armed veteran yourself? You served in the military? I says, no. Then she said, was your name on the truck, on the title of the truck when he got the tag? I says, no. She said, well, unfortunately, I hate to tell you this, you cannot keep that tag. And I was like, what? You can't keep that tag? I said, I don't quite understand. She says, that's the rules. The rules are, in our state, you cannot keep that tag for those 2 reasons.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I was kind of crushed about it. I was upset about it, but I was crushed about it. And she said, look, you still have a whole year before you have to turn the tags in.
Okay.
She says, some people, they just don't have the courage, in your situation, your husband passed away, and it's just too painful, you're too busy dealing with other things. You can wait a year when it's time, to turn the tag in. In the meantime, you still have another year left. Well, and I don't know, I did. I kind of waited another year. I said, let me ride it out. I figured maybe something would have changed.
Okay.
So you know what they did? I went into another county. And I actually asked them, I said, look, here's the situation. My husband passed away, as it's been going into 2 years. It says, well, it had only been like a year and so many months, but his tag at that time was running out at that point of the 2-year mark. And that's when she told me the same thing. She says, well, did you serve in the military? No. Was your name on the title? No. Unfortunately, you can't keep the tag. I said, really? Okay. It's got to be a way around this. Right. And so I made a decision at that time. I says, you know what? I'm going to have to turn this tag back in, but I'm going to change this law. This law is going to get changed one way or the other, because it was significant to me.
That's right.
And to be honest, I thought about it for a long time. Now, here we go. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very political person. I'm very politically, I do a lot of, I'm very active in that particular area. I had a proposal that came to me that my delegate in my area was gonna retire. And somebody had nominated me and said, you know what, you would do great as our delegate because we know you represent our values and our morals in our area. Would you run? Well, here's the problem. When I looked into how much they pay a delegate, I mean, obviously you get your perks with being a delegate. I said, I run a private practice. When I said about $11,000, I said, you can't feed a bird on that. There's no way. I says, as much as I love to run, I just can't do it. And I ain't gonna lie, what was on my mind running? I said, I'm gonna change some laws. And that was gonna be one of the first ones I was gonna change. But I changed my mind and says, no, I can't do it. Financially, I couldn't do it. And so then I found out my neighbor that lived in my neighborhood, he himself was gonna run. And I partnered up with him and I said, look, here's a proposal. Because you know, when you're a brand new delegate, you don't have any ideas for bills. You really don't. You just walk in somebody else's big shoes. And the guy that he walked into, wonderful guy, he served, I think it was 25 years as a delegate. And so I said, I'm gonna give this guy an idea. Here's a bill. And we talked about it all summer long. And this was my attitude. To be honest, I didn't like the guy in the beginning. I did not like him. Boy, we bumped heads. We lived in the same neighborhood. He sat on our homeowner association.
Oh, they shut it on down. Shut it on down. Even my niece was like, she said, Auntie, she said, what in the world? She said, I had never seen you smoke. I said, I know. It's your fault.
Did it get you sick?
$50 for smoking on a freaking hookah.
No. Are you serious?
I joined the homeowner association. Long story, short story. Nobody picked me. It's a whole different story there. I won't go there with that one. I was really upset. But him and I, we bumped heads for a little bit. But then, you know what? I said, guess what? A win for him is a win for me. So what I did, I helped him win. I took a whole precinct on, me and another person. I actually worked that whole precinct and he got 90% of the votes. I looked at it this way. That really was my win. Because if I would have ran, I would have won. But I said, you know what? I have a good attitude about things. My goal of it is I'm gonna change some laws. First thing we had talked about was that bill. That was the first thing that he passed. When he got in office, we talked about it and he passed that bill. And I told him the significance behind it is this. This is for the widowers. My goal now is, and I'm leaving a legacy behind. I'm going to change every law that I can that's to benefit the widow and the widower. Because even if the veteran passes on, he still have people that's left behind him. And I wanted to change that. And I'm going to continue to change some other bills as well that we have coming down the pike as well. That's the significance behind House Bill 40. It's really for the widower.
Wow.
It's not really for the veterans, but it's really for the widower. And I was excited because actually, when he signed that bill, I was not there because I told him, I said, I want to be there when you pass this bill. Well, he said he forgot. It's a long story. Short story. I wrote a letter to the governor telling him how disappointed I was because I should have been standing there when he was signing that bill. Well, the governor, he himself, I didn't realize he read my letter. It was a long letter, but he read the letter. He actually called my delegate up and asked him about that bill and asked him, so whose idea was the bill? And apparently, he told him what happened. And then what happened was my delegate, he came to my house, he did an interview with me, period. He did like a very simple interview with me, and he gave me credit for the bill. Then I had no idea that the governor, he was going to be doing a memorial service for veterans. And he did it in Richmond, but he specially requested me to be there. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And he asked me, he said, bring your husband's picture. We want to see a picture of your husband because the bill technically was done in memory of my husband. It's a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. He recognized me, actually handed me it was a particular chip. I forgot what they call it, it was a chip, but he shook my hand and he turned it over and he handed me that chip. And I was like, wow. And I was there with the lieutenant governor, standing next to him, because really I was standing in the back, but then she says, no, you come on up. And really it's supposed to be the governor, then the lieutenant governor, and then the attorney general. They moved their spot and they says, you stand next to the governor.
Wow.
So I felt honored.
Awesome.
That was one moment in time I really felt honored. That was the purpose behind that bill. So I'm fighting for the veterans, but it's really mainly for our widowers.
For the widowers. Okay.
Yeah, because people forget about us.
Right. And what you are left with, it's like you feel as though they don't care.
They don't care. This is just my own opinion. I never expected to be a widow.
Exactly.
As unexpected widow, at least a widow. Widower is a male.
Right.
And so I realized this when my husband unexpectedly passed away, and with him being a veteran and him, working. I mean, he fought in all 3 wars. I realized this. I kind of really was left behind by myself. I was trying to get help. We were in the middle of remodeling our home. Nobody really would step up to the plate. I learned that nobody really cares about the widow or the widower.
Why do you think so? Why do you think that's what it is? Why?
That's a good question. I wish I knew. This is what I feel like this. They recognize the Gold Star mom. The Gold Star mom is the individual where the husband or the female or the male, they die in combat. It's like 10% that die in combat. The rest are just regular veterans, just regular everyday veterans that retire from the military. And they get, the Gold Star moms or the Gold Star members, they get more recognition than us regular widowers. They also get like 400 something, I think it's 400,000 or 450,000. They get plenty of money. Nobody cares anything about us. They're thinking that, oh well, you guys get all this money. No, we don't.
Wow.
No, we don't. We don't get a dime, not a dime that's given to us. So I really am actually on a crusade. If I can start something different, like maybe, for example, we're going to call it maybe the Silver Star members, which if you think about it, silver means retire, your golden days.
Right.
I'm actually working with somebody right now, and I'm going to see if I can propose this to the military, because I think that somebody needs to recognize that veteran. That's
right.
Because when our spouse passes away, we're people too. We're people too. We're left behind, and I have never felt so left behind in my entire life until I was put in that position as a widow and as a veteran's wife. I had to fight for everything I got. Every bill or every any kind of money or SVP or DIC, those are those funds that we get if your spouse paid into that.
Wow.
Because not every veteran get that. My husband, he was an officer, so I do remember him saying that they require them to pay into SVP.
I don't know. I'm too scared. I may get in trouble.
So you might have to relax tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. What you recommend?
I don't know. It's all the what you want to do. There's plenty to do here. All depends on what your
Right.
mood is like.
Well, we say, for example, if you were a veteran or an officer, but you retired, and you didn't pay into that, and you died, your wife, she wouldn't get that. She may get like what we call DIC, which is like dependency. It's like an indemnity that they give you, and it's not a whole lot to that either. So I am on a crusade, period, to fight for the widows and the widowers. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pass every bill. Matter of fact, I'm working on a very specialized tag for us. It'll be a VSS, stands for Veteran Survivor Spouse Tag. I'm going to make it so we get that as well.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
Thank
I'm so
you.
proud of you.
Thank
Keep
you.
fighting. Continue. Do not give up.
Yes.
We'll be back with Dr. Bridgette.
Well, what you recommend?
Well, it all depends. I mean, first you want to do more eating.
Okay.
Do you want to go to a show? Do you want to go to a jazz? I mean, it's a lot to do here. It all depends on what you want to do.
Okay, now I'm not trying to go too deep into Atlanta.
Okay. Just touch a little bit of it.
Just touch a little bit.
Touch a little. Okay.